Can you talk about how deep the customization of this game is?
Sure. The character customization is we have a class-free system, so you're never locked into any given class, and then we have what we call the ego grid. So as your character progresses through the game, you earn experience, which earns you ego units, then you can spend on this grid. It's anchored with 4 ego powers kind of in the corners, and then as you add ego points, you progress across the grid. But it's a very free form kind of progression flow. In addition to that, we have 2 weapons that you can have equipped at any given time, and each of the weapons are fully customizable, moddable, up to 4 different mod locations on a given weapon, and that's visual and statistical modification. In addition to your weapons, you have an outfit which is broken up into, the clothes and your helmet, your headgear. Those are purely aesthetic, though. There's no statistical variation on those, but you get some visual variety with that. At character creation, you're able to choose between either playing as a human or the other alien species is an Arathiant. And so you have full facial customization within that, to totally define the way your character looks, hairstyle, all the stuff that you would expect.
What's your favorite type of character to create and why?
I normally pick a human, and I normally pick, when you start, you also pick kind of your origin. So all of our characters are what we call arc hunters, and they're kind of like mercenary soldiers of fortune, treasure hunter guys who go around and collect valuable alien tech called arc tech. So everybody's an arc hunter, and then you can pick what you were before an arc hunter just for a little bit of lore. So there's one that's an outlaw, and so I picked that because I like the way that guy looks. So normally human with the origin of outlaw, and I try to make it look like me, but pretty much do that in every game.
What's a good strategy for teaming up with a group for one of the in-game events?
Sure. So depending on the scale of the event, one of the things on the large events, it's always helpful if you want to be like a support character to really help out your buddies, is to make sure you grab a BMG, which is a type of our weapons that can act essentially like a heal gun almost. You can drain energy from the enemies and give it to your buddies. It also has a chain reaction kind of effect. So if you have a bunch of your buddies who are grouped together, the effect will chain from one to the other the longer you hold it. So that's a good large group strategy, is to have at least a couple people performing that role. In smaller groups, if you're groups of 2 or so, it's good to have somebody who's kind of playing a generalist, good assault weapon with a good rate of fire, able to kind of lay down suppressive fire, and then you can go a couple different ways. Either pair that with somebody like myself who runs in and shotguns things, or you can play it where you lay back a little bit further and have somebody who's specializes in more of a sniper role, and that sniper role also is complemented really well with our detonator weapon, where you can kind of set up traps, and with this, it's basically fire sticky bombs, and you can detonate them all at once. So you can lay up traps and lure guys in by sniping one of them, and then switch over and blow them up with the detonator.
What's one of your favorite enemies, and what's your favorite way to take them out?
I think my favorite enemy, because of how fun it is, even when you're fighting against them solo, is the Hellbug Monarch, and they're one of the bigger versions of the Hellbugs, but they have a couple different weak points and a couple different cool attacks, and it's a monster where you can really make use of. If you're good at dive rolling, you can dive roll out of some of their attacks and get behind them. And typically, when they're charging at you and you dive roll out of the way, after they're charged, they're normally vulnerable in the back. So if you can get around, you can snipe kind of their weak point. So I like those guys because every time you fight them, the strategy is there, and it's just, it takes a while to take them down, and you always feel a pretty big sense of accomplishment when one of them goes down.
What advice can you give to somebody just jumping into the game?
Advice, really just kind of explore the game, explore the possibilities. It's very free form, so depending on the type of player you are. You know, hopefully you're, you know, it's definitely a shooter. So, you know, come into it expecting a shooter, and that your skill as a shooter player is going to matter a lot in this game to be successful. But then past that, it's really kind of tailoring the experience towards the playstyle that you like. So, you know, me personally, you know, I kind of like to run into the thick of the action. So I normally, you know, play with a shotgun as my primary weapon, and the ability called Overcharge, which gives you extra damage boost. So I like to just kind of run into the middle and start shooting fools in the face.